21 million people are about to be in the direct threat zone during a severe weather outbreak that forecasters are calling unprecedented. From April 9th through 16th, the Storm Prediction Center has issued 4 consecutive extended slight risks, a confidence level so rare that meteorologists are already comparing it to the most dangerous days on record. This is not a typical spring weather pattern. This is a locked-in outbreak. Here's what you need to know about the most dangerous week ahead. Monday, April 14th, stands out as potentially the most dangerous single day in over a year of severe weather observation. 21 million people will sit in the direct threat zone across a double-barrel setup spanning from Minneapolis to Dallas-Fort Worth. This outbreak is not random atmospheric noise. It is being driven by a fundamental shift in the climate state of the Pacific Ocean. And the science says this is only the beginning. The Storm Prediction Center issued 4 consecutive extended slight risks from day 4 through day 8. That is historically unprecedented confidence in a multi-day forecast. Meteorologists look at this and immediately know something extraordinary is happening in the upper atmosphere. When I say unprecedented, I mean we do not have a comparable recent analog. Forecasters rarely see this combination of signals aligned perfectly together. Slight risk is the second highest alert level available to forecasters. It sits between general convective outlooks and moderate risk. Slight risk is typically issued for isolated threats scattered across a large region, meaning severe weather is expected to be scattered and disconnected. It means that severe weather is possible but not expected everywhere in the risk zone. 4 days in a row of slight risk signals that forecasters have locked in confidence in the pattern. This is not typical April weather variability that changes day to day. This is not a one-system event that will pass in 24 hours. This is a committed multi-day setup with no uncertainty about whether severe weather will occur somewhere in the zone. The only remaining question is where exactly and how intense. Forecasters do not issue 4 consecutive day slight risks lightly. They do not look at the data and casually issue these alerts. They issue them when the data is overwhelming, when the confidence is stratospheric, when they are certain that the pattern cannot break. These are deliberate statements of conviction backed by years of experience. Slight risk does not mean minor weather. Slight risk does not mean a few scattered thunderstorms that the meteorologist happens to mention. Slight risk does not mean pop-up afternoon storms that affect a few counties. Slight risk means baseball-sized hail that can break windshields and cause injuries. Slight risk means 70-plus mile-per-hour winds that can destroy structures and kill people. Slight risk means tornadoes are possible and probable in certain areas. The pattern shows no sign of breaking for at least 2 to 3 weeks beyond this initial outbreak. Not just the 7-day window we are discussing right now. Beyond that, into late April and early May. The rarity of this confidence statement is what demands your attention right now. This is shaping up as the most dangerous week since early March 2025. That is over 1 year of relative quiet about to end. That is over 1 year of stable spring weather ending abruptly. April 9th. Today, a slight risk is already in place along the I-70 corridor from Abilene, Kansas through Kansas City to southern Nebraska. This is day 1 of the 7-day sequence. Large hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds are the primary threats moving through this region right now. Dew points in the 50s limit tornado potential on the northern flank of this system, so we are looking at primarily a hail and wind threat today. There is one possible tornado on a boundary northwest of Kansas City by 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Localized, but real. One tornado is still a tornado, and residents need to take it seriously and seek shelter if warnings are issued. April 10th, Thursday. The second day of the outbreak shifts northeast into southeastern Nebraska and northwestern Missouri. Storm activity will pick up energy as the system moves forward and interacts with warmer, moister air mass moving up from the Gulf. Hen egg to baseball-sized hail is possible. With this system as instability increases dramatically. 40-knot deep-layer shear will organize the storms into linear structures that can produce damaging straight-line winds across a long path. These first 2 days are the opening acts. They are the warm-up for what is coming on the weekend. Energy is building systematically throughout the atmosphere. Atmospheric conditions are becoming more favorable with each passing hour. This is not random variability or typical spring weather. This is a systematic progression of conditions all moving in the same direction, toward intensity and organization. April 11th and 12th are where the intensity begins to climb significantly. Friday, April 11th, begins to transition the pattern as a new system approaches from the southwest. Saturday, April 12th, the pattern truly opens with a 15% tornado probability zone from West Texas. Lubbock, Amarillo, Odessa, and Midland face a real threat of organized supercells clustering into linear systems. Wind threat will be the signature of this event, but hail and tornadoes are not ruled out in any way. The supercells in this region could be exceptionally organized and long-lived. Updraft strength is increasing as we move forward in time. Moisture is building into the Gulf states and will be advected northward by the jet stream. This is not a one-day spike in severe weather. This is a multi-day crescendo, where each system builds on the energy and moisture from the previous system. What happens Wednesday and Thursday sets the stage for the catastrophic pattern beginning Saturday and peaking Monday. Sunday, April 13th, marks the unofficial beginning of the most dangerous stretch of the outbreak. 14 million people sit in the direct threat zone. The I-35 corridor from Wichita, Kansas, down through Oklahoma City and Tulsa, across Texas to Dallas-Fort Worth and Austin, all in the crosshairs of this system. 50 to 60 knot jet stream will drive storms at highway speed with minimal weakening as they move from northwest to southeast. These storms will not slow down as they move into an area of higher pressure. They will maintain speed and intensity. They will maintain organization and threat level as they sweep across the populated regions. The most dangerous window opens Sunday afternoon around 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time and extends well past midnight. After-dark supercells are statistically more lethal because communities are asleep and less likely to receive warnings in time. Emergency managers across 4 states are already pre-positioning resources. Baseball-sized hail is expected with this system. Tornadoes will occur. Winds in excess of 70 miles per hour will move across the region in a damaging pattern. The most dangerous window is Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. This is when the jet stream will be most active and the instability will be greatest. This day alone qualifies as a significant severe weather event by any historical standard. Meteorologists would use this day as a reference point in a normal year and discuss it for months. Forecasters are already choosing language carefully. They are using words like significant threat and historical context. This is language reserved for the biggest days of the year. But here's the critical fact. Sunday is not the peak of this outbreak. It is not the main event. It is the prelude to Monday. It is the opening scene of the main act. April 14th, Monday, is the day forecasters are using the word outbreak. This is critical language. Outbreak does not mean scattered storms. Outbreak means multiple tornadoes, multiple areas of damaging winds, and widespread significant hail across a vast region. 21 million people stretch from Minneapolis to Dallas-Fort Worth. The threat zone spans nearly 1,000 miles east to west. This is not a single storm system moving across a state. This is a double-barrel setup, separate Midwest and Southern Plains systems moving simultaneously. 2 distinct areas of rotation, 2 separate severe weather threats occurring at the same time across different parts of the country, separated by hundreds of miles. Forecasters will need to issue warnings and watches across multiple states at the same moment, managing resources across an entire region simultaneously. CAPE values, a measure of atmospheric instability, will reach 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram. That is roughly double the 2026 baseline for this time of year. Dew points pushing into the low 60s as far north as Minneapolis in mid-April is highly unusual. Late May or early June is when this anomaly is typical for the upper Midwest. We are seeing June-like moisture in mid-April. The combination of extreme instability and extreme moisture is what drives the largest hail, the strongest tornadoes, and the most damaging winds. This is not a close call. This is extreme. This is the type of setup that veterans of the meteorological community point to as defining an era of severe weather. Forecasters are already preparing language for a potential upgrade from slight risk to enhanced or moderate risk. The structure is textbook for an outbreak level event. Discrete supercells will likely form and organize into long-lived rotating updrafts. The rotation will be deep and sustained, not shallow or brief. Tornadoes will not be isolated, appearing here and there across a wide area. Multiple tornadoes will spin up in rapid succession across the same region. Damaging winds will extend hundreds of miles outward from the convective system. Large hail will fall over areas the size of multiple counties. Communities could experience simultaneous threats from multiple directions and will struggle to respond to all of them at once. If the pattern shifts even slightly to the north, Chicago and southern Wisconsin are in play for the most significant impacts. If the pattern shifts south, Arkansas and Louisiana face threat. The forecast is locked in, but the exact track still carries significant uncertainty. This is the day that people will be talking about for years. Meteorologists will compare future events to what happens on Monday. Monday, April 14th, is shaping up as the single most dangerous day in over a year of forecasting. Tuesday, April 15th, the day after the outbreak, forecasters are already discussing a potential upgrade to enhanced or moderate risk. That would be the highest threat level short of particularly dangerous situation, or PDS. PDS is reserved for catastrophic events. Enhanced and moderate are extraordinary in their own right and rarely issued. Detroit to Dallas Waco is the threat zone on Tuesday. Discrete supercells will continue to fire across central Texas through Kansas City. The dynamic setup continues. Instability remains high. The pattern does not weaken Tuesday. It transitions into a different phase but maintains threat potential. Wednesday, April 16th, brings no relief. Chicago, Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis, Little Rock, Memphis, Shreveport, and Dallas all remain in the threat cone. Forecasters are tracking the pattern forward beyond this initial 7-day window. They are already modeling Thursday and Friday for additional development. Thursday and beyond, the pattern reloads. There are early indications of another system developing for next week. This is not a one-week event. April the 2026 is positioning itself to be one of the most active Aprils in years. This is not a single dangerous week followed by calm weather. This is the beginning of what could be a hyperactive, severe weather season lasting weeks. The outbreak of April 9th through 16th may only be the first chapter of what becomes the most active spring on record. The oceanic Niño index is currently at negative 0.16, neutral, but rapidly warming from La Niña conditions. From October, November, December 2025, the ONI sat at negative 0.55. That is firmly La Niña territory. December to January, February 2026, it warmed to negative 0.37, a significant jump toward neutral. January, February, March 2026, it reached negative 0.16, now neutral territory. The Pacific is warming systematically. The subsurface heat reservoir beneath the equatorial Pacific continues to build. If this trajectory holds, the ocean will declare El Niño conditions by summer 2026. But the atmosphere is not waiting for that declaration. The jet stream amplification driving this outbreak is the atmospheric response to the ocean state right now. The transition from La Niña to neutral ENSO conditions historically unlocks active, severe weather seasons across North America. This is climatology. This is what the data tells us happens. We are in this active window right now. As El Niño takes hold later this summer, the pattern will shift again. But for right now, we are in the sweet spot for extreme weather and atmospheric instability. Subsurface Pacific heat is still building in the equatorial regions. Ocean temperature anomalies show robust warm pools developing below the surface in critical areas. By summer 2026, the Pacific will cross the threshold into full El Niño conditions. Record global sea surface temperatures were recorded at 21.126 degrees Celsius on March 22nd, 2026. Not in centuries, in this year, in 2026. Warmer ocean surfaces mean more Gulf of Mexico moisture available to feed northern systems moving through the region. More moisture combined with strong upper-level dynamics equals higher Cape values. Higher Cape equals larger hail, stronger tornadoes, more damaging winds. The ENSO state is not a side effect of the pattern. It is the driver. It is the reason the trough ridge pattern is locked in. It is steering this entire outbreak. This is not an isolated, unusual event. This is a symptom of a larger climate state shift. The Pacific Ocean is the reason Monday, April 14th is locked in as the single most dangerous day in over a year. While severe weather dominates the headlines, this is not the only significant weather event occurring across North America right now. South Florida is being inundated with heavy rainfall. 8 inches have fallen in some areas, with 5.6 million people in the footprint. Flash flooding is ongoing. Water rescue operations are active. Communities are cut off by water. Roads are impassable. Power is out in many areas due to water damage to electrical infrastructure. The Sierra Nevada is being buried under a significant winter storm. Late-season snow at high elevation. Higher elevations are receiving multiple feet of snow. Winter weather alerts are in place for passes and mountain roads. The Midwest has 47 active flood warnings on file. Rivers are swollen by the water from the preceding wet pattern. Water is moving downstream into populated areas rapidly. The Southwest is under fire weather alerts with critical fire conditions across Arizona, New Mexico, and southern Nevada. 275 active National Weather Service alerts are in place across the United States right now. 275. Not 70, not 20. 275 simultaneous alerts. This is not one weather system. This is a compound, nationwide multi-hazard emergency. The severe weather outbreak is the highest impact piece, but it is one part of a much larger picture. When you look at the whole pattern, you are looking at a climate state that is completely out of its seasonal baseline. Moisture is abnormally high everywhere. Energy is abnormally high everywhere. The jet stream is positioned to drive storms in rapid succession with no break. Systems will move from ocean to ocean without significant weakening between them. For people in the severe weather outbreak zone, the risk is immediate and severe. For people outside the outbreak zone, other hazards are active and dangerous. There's no part of the United States that is sitting safely outside this pattern right now. This is the most dangerous week because of the outbreak, but it is also the most hazardous week because of the compound hazards everywhere. No state is exempt, no region is safe. Everyone has something to prepare for right now. The key takeaway is straightforward. The next 7 days will reshape what we know about severe weather patterns in 2026. Keep your alerts on. Stay informed. Check on loved ones. Prepare now. This is what the climate state is delivering right now. This is not a warning about something that might happen. This is a briefing about what is already locked in to happen. We will be tracking every day of this outbreak as it unfolds. The pattern reloads after Wednesday, and forecasters are already watching the following weekend for another round.